I'm honored to be here and especially to talk about this amazing community of the Druze in Israel. But before, I would like to explain a little bit more about the Druze in general. So the Druze used to be Muslims until the 11th century, when they decided to split up from the Shia Islam, and they created their own religion. The thing about the Druze religion is that it's a secret religion. No one can know what's going on inside. I don't know, a lot of the Druze itself, like the people that are part of this community, cannot know until they're reaching specific age. You can't get outside of the community, of the religion. You can't get back inside. And if, for example, someone would choose that he want to convert to Druze, he can't. So the thing about the Druze society and community, that they're really trying to keep themselves inside the community. And that's about them in general. They live, most of them, in Lebanon, in south of Syria, and the north of Israel. I would say that in Israel, we do talking about them as a religion. We're not account them as part of the Islam, but some of the Arab states and countries calling them as part of the Islam. So, for example, Lebanon still, I'm talking about the Druze as part of the Islam, but the Druze are not Arab, they're not Muslim, they're just Druze. Even in Israel, if we're talking about the language and the culture, so the culture is Druze. It's kind of similar to the Arab culture, but they're not Arabs. And the Arabic is with the Druze dialect. In Israel, the Druze are like, if we're talking about numbers, they're only like 150,000 of the Israeli society. Only 1.5% of the Israeli society, but they have a significant part in the Israeli society. They're very involved since 1956 because they asked to, their leaders. They have to get into the IDF just as any other Jew in Israel. The men have to get into the IDF. I even had a Druze soldier when I was a commander before I became to be an officer in the IDF. And that's about them. They're very involved, such a warm people, really. And 125,400 of them are Israeli citizens. What about the rest? So the rest of them live in the Golan Heights. We need to get back in time and to talk about 1967, 6 Days War, when Israel won in the war. We tripled our land, and basically we occupied the Golan Heights. And since then, legally, it is part of Israel. The Druze that live there, some of them refuse to get Israeli citizenship and refuse to get into the IDF. And this is the reason. So the Druze, wherever they are, they have kind of blood agreement to the land that they live in and to the state that they live in. So the Druze of Israel are very loyal to Israel. As I said, they asked to join to the IDF. And even before the law in 1956, they were volunteered to get into the IDF. The Druze in Syria, very loyal to Syria. The Druze in Lebanon, very loyal to Lebanon. So the Druze that live in the Golan Heights used to be part of the Syrian society. They still have family in Syria. And because of the complicated situation, and because they scared that like a day might come and the Golan Heights will be back, will return to Syria, they don't want to identify as Israel supporters and Israeli citizens. So they're choosing not to be. Still, I can say that about myself and the vast majority of the Israeli society. We look at them as part of us, part of the society, true brothers and sisters, even if they're choosing not to identify as Israeli citizens. And now let's touch Majdal Shams, that I'm sure that that you all know about the heartbreaking event that happened to us, to them. So Majdal Shams, located in the Golan Heights. It means that a lot of the citizens there are not Israeli citizens. Sorry, the residents there are not Israeli citizens. According to 2021, we know that we had there 11,400 citizens, residents, I'm sorry, Druze residents. And as I said, it was like 100% Druze. So when the terror attack happened, Hezbollah fired rockets to the north of Israel. They didn't like decide, okay, we wanna bomb that field. They just, the soccer field, they just fired rockets like it's a game.
As they do normally.
Yes, to wherever they want to. And the people there in Majdal Shams heard the alarm, the siren, but the kids in the soccer field didn't have enough time to run away, and the rocket fell there, and we have now 12 children, kids from the age of 16 and I think to 11 or 10 that got murdered. We have above 40 people that got injured from this rocket. And when we heard about this, it didn't matter to us if they were not Jewish, because they're Israelis and they're part of us. And as I said, they're like my brothers, like my sister, to all of the Israeli society. And I don't know who of you saw pictures from the event. We can talk about the pictures from the funeral that were really like devastating, but I'm talking even about pictures and videos from the attack itself. Because sometimes we forget, we can hear those numbers and we can say poor kids, because it is really hurtful to hear and to know about those stuff. But to see the pictures of them laying on the ground, it's just heartbreaking and very hard. And sometimes we forget that war bring those stuff, and it's not only names and numbers that we see